Hey, what is up, YouTube? Today we're going to be going over Quelle Cartridges. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce that. Quelle. Quelle. Yeah, close enough. So this is what they look like. I got them from CNC Tattoo Supply. And if this is the first time visiting our channel, I'm Brandon from Tattooing 101. And if you are interested in more content like this, or you're trying to get on your tattooing journey, make sure you like and subscribe down below so you can keep up to date on 5 new videos we come out with, tattoo related each week, to help you get to where you want to get in your career. So let's open these up and see how they look. Awesome. So you get 22 a box, and this box was $17. This is my 11 round liners. So straight off the bat, we'll check them out. So they were sterilized in 2021-06. Expiration date 2026-06. So another thing with these cartridges, you could buy in bulk, not have to worry about them going out of date. You have a couple of years until they do go out, and you can see right here that they were sterilized. You could see by that little blue circle right there. So that is a great thing to see. So these are sterile. You could use these on actual clients and things like that because of that right there, showing that they are sterilized. And it also says only use if the package is undamaged. Obviously the package is not damaged at all, so that means it is sterile until you open it up, and then obviously you don't want to be touching this with your hands, so I'm wearing gloves. And even if you're tattooing on fake skins, you still want to do these things so mentally, whenever you do make that jump onto actual clients, that it's already in there so you don't accidentally mess anything up. Now, one weird thing was I ordered liners and shaders for all these brands to test them both out. Now, when I got these, I thought that they sent the wrong thing, right? I did my research, I looked them up, and I guess that these are made by Quelle. I really hope that I'm saying that right. But yeah, I guess they are made by them. They're just called something different for some reason. I don't know, because they have a little finger thing on it. Yeah, which I'll show you in a second. But yeah, so these were $17, and these are the 11 round mags. So this is what these look like. A little bit weird, definitely different when it comes to the actual cartridge. They have this little filament over it that I've seen a couple other brands out there implement to their cartridges. I know Envy uses some things like that, which can make it really comfortable if you are, holding your middle finger underneath the cartridge, which is cool. But I feel like there's a lot of cheaper brands out there that's just been throwing these on to make them, look more fancy and make you think that they're going to be something a little bit more than what they are. But I haven't tried these out yet. This could be the difference between, the cheaper ones and actually having one that works correctly. So let's get into it. So before we start, we always like to check out the needles, making sure that they don't wiggle at all when you're putting it in and out. This is a bigger needle. I'm using an 11. Yeah, so there doesn't seem to be any wiggle or anything. It's really tight in there, which is awesome. These do have the backflow filament inside. That is really hard to see because it's solid construction, but it does have that inside, and you're not able to see through that. So yeah, just know that they do have that. With this one, yeah, it's a little bit different just because it has this little grommet squishy thing down below, which I guess is cool. It doesn't really make it grip any better, I will say. I was expecting it to be like, super grippy, but yeah, it kind of just slides just like a regular cartridge would. But it gives you a little extra padding underneath, which is cool. Okay, let's get through with the liner. I'm using an 11 round liner, and let's see how it does. Always starting out with a thin layer of Vaseline on it, just so it doesn't puddle up and make a mess of everything. Alright, let's start over here. Okay, first line actually works really good. Yeah, better than the other CNC brands I've been working with. It's going in there perfectly, no issues at all. It's not really spitting ink, as much as the other ones by any means. It's not really spitting any ink at all. As I tattoo, I like to hold a lot of ink in my tube because I, pull some really thick, long lines, so. Cartridge feels really comfortable in the hand. I'm able to move it around exactly how I normally would with some of these more expensive cartridges, which is really nice. Okay, so I just pulled a super long line to see how it did. And you can see that, normally with the flow that I have on other cartridges, I'd be able to do that line, so it looks like it doesn't suck up as much ink as my other ones would, but that's no problem. We could go back over and just darken it up a little bit. So yeah, it doesn't hold as much ink as my, more expensive cartridges do. I could pull really long lines, and the reservoir is just, I guess a little bit bigger. It's where I'm able to do that. But that's no problem at all, especially if you are learning, because you're not going to be trying to pull really, really long lines. You're just trying to get comfortable, things like that. But now that I know that, I'll just separate my lines and then go into them just because it doesn't have that long line ability. Yeah, so far I'm liking this cartridge a lot, especially for it being an 11. Usually these bigger needles are harder to push into the fake skin just because there's a lot more things like that, but it's making really consistent lines with it being an 11 for sure. And I know a couple of people has said in the comments to review these. So that's what I'm doing right now, and yeah, so far so good. So if you are using these cartridges, so far these are, a great cartridge to learn on for sure. Also saves your pocket a little bit. Another thing I'd like to point out would be the regular Quelle cartridges, the liners that I got, they do come 20 to a box. Now, the other ones, the shaders, there's only 16 pieces per box. So they are about the same price whenever you're buying them, but you do get less when it comes to the actual shaders, which I guess they're charging more because of the little squishy thing on the end. So while I'm just going through here lining, I have a question for you guys. So I've done a couple review videos already, and the question I have today would be, what questions do you have about tattooing? What would you like me to do a video on? So whatever you think, whatever you have in mind, comment down below. I'll take a look at them, and if I feel like it's able to help out, multiple people, I'll definitely do a video on it. The ink's flowing really, really well. Now that I kind of have the idea of how long of a line I could go, I'm really getting tuned into what I can do and when I kind of have to stop and get more ink in my tube. So after knowing that, it's running really, really consistently. All right, so the liner is approved. I liked it out a lot. It's definitely worked best out of all of the different cartridges from CNC so far. I really enjoyed using it. I didn't have any issues really at all, so definitely recommend the liners. Okay, so let's get into the shader. Let's try this out. I will say it does feel nice in the machine, but it feeling nice doesn't really help how it works that much. So let's get in and do a review on the 11 curved mag. Okay, we'll start in with packing some color. So I'm just going to fill in the inside of this eye. Okay, yeah, that worked really good. Surprisingly good, actually. It does have really nice control when you're using it, which is awesome to see as well. So far, Quelle is killing it, if that's even how you pronounce their name. Yeah, so the shading is going really, really well. I'm really liking these cartridges a lot. Now let's do some whip shading. They are working so good. The best thing about finding good cartridges is if you're working with, you know, the ones that are like cheap and you're kind of getting used to them and like trying to tattoo with them, you know, finding ones that just work exactly how you tattoo already is just like a perfect moment. Because some cartridges, you know, you want them to work, you want to, you know, you want to like the brand, but they're just not really working for you. So you kind of got to change the way you tattoo, you know, slow down your hand speed because it's not going in there as well as it should. And you really shouldn't have to do that. So, you know, finding a cartridge that works just for you without having to change some stuff. Now that's if you know what you're doing and you're just trying to get everything a little bit more fluent. If you are first starting out, you know, you definitely have to practice on the fundamentals, things like that, before you could try to, you know, find a cartridge that's just 100% for you. But if you're trying to fight with your cartridges, you probably have a brand that just isn't necessarily good, and it's causing problems with you trying to figure out, you know, what's wrong when it could actually just be what you're using. So I definitely recommend, you know, changing it up. If you are using these, as you can see that they're working great for me. So yeah, I definitely recommend keeping with them. Yeah, so I will say that the little grommet on the bottom really doesn't do much of anything. You know, it looks cool. You know, it's a really bright yellow. I don't necessarily like the color yellow, but you know, I guess it stands out and it's cool. But it doesn't really do anything to help the tattooing process. So if you're getting them just for that reason, it wouldn't really be beneficial, but they do work great. You have really good control over these, so I'm just holding my mag to the side a little bit to kind of give, because it is a curved mag, so it's going to give the outside lighter and then the inside the darkest part. So I'm just holding it to the side, and it's giving me really nice control whenever I'm doing that. Yeah, having no problem fully saturating an area, you know, going through and doing my little circles. It's just packing it in there really nicely. And I'm getting my transitions with my solid black with no issues at all. Okay, now that we have our black in there, we're going to go in with our lighter grays. So I'm going to go into my 6-drop, just kind of wipe off a little bit, and then go into my 3-drop. What I'm going to do here is just do some light shading with this mag and kind of just work in some more of the areas to where it's just really, really dark, but I want to have some lighter tones without it just being skin tone, to kind of smooth everything on out a little bit. Okay, so now that we have our design pretty much done, what I'm going to do is switch over to my liner, clean it up really good, and do a little bit of detail in it. And just by that, I mean going in, I'm just going to do some blood lines into the eye. And there we go. I'm going to clean up this design so we could see it. And I'm going to tell you if these cartridges are worth the money. So for this tattoo, you know, this is a traditional design, so I didn't really need to go in and do some super clean blends like on black and gray, traditional things like that. But with these cartridges, I had no issue at all. You know, the other cartridges I had issues with, you know, different things, you know, being able to put in the ink efficiently the whole way through. I had really no issues at all when it came to these cartridges. And normally, you know, I'd recommend you getting a better brand if you are trying to get better in your career, things like that. But I will definitely be buying these again. I'm going to make an order through them probably today or tomorrow because they worked out so great. So when I'm practicing on practice skins, I will be using these from now on because they worked so good. Now if you're working on actual people, yes, they did work great, but I just still recommend you get a reputable company just so you know that every time you use them, everything's 100%. But for this review, they are a big win. Good job, Quill. I will definitely be ordering from you soon. And as always, if you like content like this and like to stay up to date on future content we make each week, make sure you like and subscribe down below so you can stay up to date on all the new videos we make. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video.